He was the sinister little man with the soft, eerie voice and the perpetually surprised, soft-boiled egg eyes. Yet, the villain of classics like M and Casablanca once confessed, "Terrible letters came to me, depraved and distorted minds, thinking they saw in me the perfect companion, a fellow psychopathic." Let's dive into the dark and surprisingly gentle life of the world's most imitated actor, Peter Lorre. Lorre was born Laszlo Lowenstein on June 26, 1904, in Rozahiji, Hungary, now Ružomberok, Slovakia. His mother, Elvira, died suddenly, likely from food poisoning, when he was just 4. His father remarried his late wife's best friend, Melanie Klein, whom Lorre famously described as cruel, leading him to run away from home. A loner's childhood, due to his father, an army lieutenant and bookkeeper, often being away, Lorre spent much of his time alone. He left home at age 17 to escape his difficult family life. Unconventional education. He briefly enrolled in business school and worked as a bank clerk to appease his father, but was quickly fired for disrespect. Early stage work. He started acting on stage in Vienna at 17, initially working with the avant-garde puppeteer Richard Teschner. In the late 1920s, he became a favorite of influential German playwright Bertolt Brecht, working with him in Berlin on productions like Man ist Man. Student of psychiatry. Lorre was an independent student of psychiatry in his youth, a fact that undoubtedly informed his complex character portrayals. Comedian at heart. Despite his later typecasting, Lorre preferred working in comedy in his early stage career. The breakthrough. His film career exploded when director Fritz Lang cast him as Hans Beckert, the child murderer in the 1931 masterpiece, M. The whistle, his chilling, tuneless whistling of "In the Hall of the Mountain King" in M, was added in post-production because Lorre genuinely couldn't whistle on cue. M immediately typecast him as a sinister figure, a struggle he fought for the rest of his career. The fleeing artist. As a Jew, Lorre was forced to flee Germany in 1933 when the Nazis came to power, first relocating to Paris and then London. His first English-language film was Alfred Hitchcock's The Man Who Knew Too Much, 1934. Learning lines phonetically. Since his command of English was limited at the time, he learned his lines for the Hitchcock film phonetically. Charlie Chaplin's praise. After seeing Lorre in Mad Love, 1935, legendary silent comedian Charlie Chaplin called him the screen's best actor. He only agreed to star in the horror film if the studio, Columbia, would also produce an adaptation of Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment, starring him as Raskolnikov. Mad Love was the hit. Crime and Punishment failed. The good guy role. Seeking to break his villain typecasting, he signed with 20th Century Fox and was given the role of a protagonist, Mr. Moto. Between 1937 and 1939, he starred in 8 films as the polite, judo-expert Japanese spy and detective, Mr. Moto. Spy joke. During the Mr. Moto filming, a fan replaced his identification card with one reading, Mr. Moto, Japanese spy. When pulled over for speeding, Lorre unintentionally showed the card to the officer, who, fortunately, was a fan and let him go. The Warner Brothers era. He moved to Warner Brothers, where his career truly soared alongside Humphrey Bogart and Sidney Greenstreet. He made 6 films with Sidney Greenstreet, forming one of cinema's most famous on-screen villain pairings, notably in The Maltese Falcon and Casablanca. Joel Cairo's censored flamboyance. Censors objected to the implied homosexuality of his character Joel Cairo in The Maltese Falcon, 1941, and demanded cuts to scenes, particularly one where he was shown caressing Alicia Cook, Jr.'s face. You know how to whistle, don't you? Lorre was an uncredited source of inspiration for the famous line from Casablanca, 1942, due to his whistling scene in M. The Mask of Demetrius. He considered his role as the sympathetic lead in The Mask of Demetrius, 1944, one of his personal favorites, showcasing his non-villainous range. A comic turn. He appeared as the eccentric killer Dr. Einstein in the film adaptation of Arsenic and Old Lace, 1944, demonstrating his comedic timing. Short stature. Lorre was quite diminutive, standing at approximately 5 feet 5 inches. Becoming an American. He officially became a naturalized U.S. citizen in 1941. 3 marriages. He was married 3 times, to actress Celia Lovsky, 1934 to 1945, actress Karen Verne, 1945 to 1950, and Anne-Marie Brenning, 1953 to 1964. He had only one child, a daughter named Catherine Lorre, born during his marriage to Anne-Marie. Chronic pain. Lorre suffered from chronic pain in his stomach and gallbladder for much of his life. This chronic pain led doctors to prescribe him morphine, to which he became severely addicted, a battle that plagued his later life and affected his career. The Lost One. In 1951, he briefly returned to Germany to write, direct, and star in the psychological film noir Der Verlorene, The Lost One, a dark comment on guilt in post-war Germany. It was a critical success, but a financial failure. Whack interrogation. He was supportive of the Hollywood 10 and was himself interrogated by the House Un-American Activities Committee about his friendships with communists like Bertolt Brecht. His evasive joke. When asked if he'd ever met anyone suspicious since arriving in the U.S., he famously responded by listing everyone he had ever met. Undervalued star. Despite his popularity, Lorre was chronically underpaid for his services, often earning significantly less than his frequent co-star Sidney Greenstreet. He entrusted his lifetime earnings to a shady money manager who ultimately defrauded him, leaving him in financial difficulty later in life. First Bond villain. In a 1954 TV adaptation of Ian Fleming's Casino Royale for the show Climax, Lorre was the first actor to ever portray a James Bond villain, Le Chiffre. During the live broadcast of Casino Royale, his death scene went wrong when the director failed to cut away, and the dead, Lorre was seen rising and quietly walking off set. Roger Corman's muse. In his final years, he often worked in horror comedies for B-movie master Roger Corman, including Tales of Terror and The Raven. Improvisational comedy. In Corman's The Raven, 1963, his best lines were reportedly improvised, including the memorable exchange, "Shall I ever hold again that radiant maiden whom the angels call Lenore?" Lorre answers, "How the hell should I know? What am I, a fortune teller?" A morbid quip. While attending Bela Lugosi's funeral in 1956 and seeing Lugosi laid out in his signature Dracula cape, Lorre turned to Vincent Price and morbidly quipped, "Do you think we should drive a stake through his heart just in case?" Final film. His last theatrical film was the Jerry Lewis comedy, The Patsy, 1964, released shortly after his death. Cartoon legacy. His distinct voice and appearance were widely caricatured, most famously as the inspiration for the ghostly mascot Boo Berry cereal and the character Flat Top on the Dick Tracy show. A facemaker. He sometimes belittled his own talent, describing himself humbly as just a facemaker. Peter Lorre died on March 23, 1964 from a massive stroke. He had suffered from high blood pressure for years. He was found in his small Hollywood apartment, lying on the bedroom floor near the window, having seemingly gotten up to open or close it. He was only 59 years old. His close friend and frequent co-star, actor Vincent Price, delivered the eulogy at his funeral. Price was granted an extra hour off from rehearsing a TV appearance to give the eulogy, which was described as a beautiful testament to Lorre's artistry and life. At the time of his death, he was in the process of divorcing his third wife, Anne-Marie Brenning. He died without a will or making his final wishes known. He was cremated following the service. His ashes are interred at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Los Angeles, California. His niche is located in Corridor C of the Alcove of Reverence, within the Abbey of the Psalms. Daughter's tragic connection. Years after his death, his daughter Peter Lorre was briefly in the news when she was questioned by the police because one of the victims of the Hillside Stranglers, Kenneth Bianchi and Angelo Buono, was renting a room from her and had used her car. Posthumous popularity. His most famous roles in the Maltese Falcon and Casablanca continued to be rediscovered by new generations, cementing his legacy long after his death. Inspiration for Brecht. Lorre's distinctive acting style was studied by Bertolt Brecht while formulating his theories on theatrical performance. He and Bertolt Brecht once collaborated on an unrealized film project called Lady Macbeth of the Yards, updating the Shakespeare story to the Chicago stockyards. Initial Mr. Moto reluctance. He was initially reluctant to take on the Mr. Moto role, seeing it as a step backward, but financial necessity, due to his ongoing health issues and rising morphine costs, drove the decision. The Little Monster. Director Fritz Lang, though recognizing his talent, had a reputation for sadism toward his actors. Lorre once referred to him as his little monster. Not just a villain. He appeared in over 70 films, but maintained that he portrayed a really bad man in only about 10 of them. Despite his fearsome screen persona, he often described himself as a shy man in interviews. His final word on the business. Making movies used to be fun in the old days.
He said,
"It isn't any longer. It's a cold-hearted business." Which of Peter Lorre's roles, from the terrifying child killer in M to the hapless Joel Cairo in the Maltese Falcon, do you think best captured his unique blend of menace and melancholy? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed these little-known facts about the iconic Peter Lorre, please give this video a like and subscribe for more deep dives into classic Hollywood legends.